welcome to METALS100 at PDAC 2025. We're so glad to have Thomas here from Pulsar Helium. And how are you doing today?
Very well, thank you. Happy PDAC.
Great, so let's start with an update. So how significant are the initial results of the Jetstream number 1 and Jetstream number 2?
Yeah, very pleased with the outcome so far. So testing is still underway, but in January we completed deepening of the Jetstream number 1 well, and number 2 was completed in February. And what we saw was helium coming up to surface. So we saw high concentration helium. We managed to drill through the entire interpreted height of the reservoir. And now further testing underway, but off to a tremendous start.
Great. So how soon can investors expect for further developments for Topaz project?
We have later this month, in the next couple of weeks, we'll be doing flow testing on both of the wells, and we'll be keeping the market updated with the results as they come in. And then after that, we'll then be looking at doing a resource update, and then with the view to later doing a economic study, a preliminary economic assessment.
So what does the midterm news flow look like?
It's pretty thick and fast, to be honest. So we have data coming in from both wells still. We then have the, as I say, the resource update, and then looking to achieve an economic assessment. We have seismic survey continuing in the field as well, results coming from that. So really it's a great time for investors to have a look, because it's very active.
That sounds great. So given the success, how to compare Topaz project, which is based on USA, to other helium projects in terms of like commercial availability?
Yeah, ours is what we have to offer is quite unique. So for us, we're in a location in Minnesota, also a second project in Greenland. They're really dedicated to primary helium. So that is where helium is not associated with hydrocarbons. Whereas, say, potentially some other companies, what they're doing is they're looking at known gas fields, conventional basins that have already been exploited for natural gas or other commodities. Whereas for us, first mover and very high concentration helium, and really the potential is unknown in terms of its size. And so with each bit of activity that we do, we're incrementally advancing and learning more about it. So I guess it's something a little bit more exciting.
Interesting. So what are the challenges in bringing the helium project into production, and how to overcome them?
In terms of challenges, I mean, really, we've managed to de-risk this project quite a lot. So we have support from our local stakeholders. There's been new legislation from the state of Minnesota that was put into place last year. We own the surface rights where our project is, where we've drilled. So really, we've got a great partner so we have an agreement signed with a company called Chart Industries to do the engineering and plant design, and they're really, effectively the best at this. So really it comes down to now the geology. So with the drilling that we've just completed, the testing, getting to know the reservoir a bit more, that is the unknown at this moment in time. So de-risking the resource, converting it to reserves, that's the big one we're focused on.
Fantastic. So how is the Tunu project in Greenland?
That one's great. So we just recently, only a month or so ago, announced some results from a seismic survey that we conducted there. That was very positive. So it showed that at depth, there's interesting structures there, which have the potential to host helium as the reservoir. We know that there's a helium system there, so we've analyzed that. It's one of very few primary helium occurrences in Europe. So really, it's got great potential. It's not quite as advanced in terms of its technical development as Minnesota is, but certainly we're moving that one forward as best we can. And for Europe, which is a net importer of helium, it may play a special role.
Great. So how can Topaz project capitalize on North America's growing demand for helium?
Yeah, North America, the USA in particular, has a real need for, new domestic helium sources. So the USA is the world's largest user of helium, and has been the world's largest producer of helium to the point where it's been an exporter. But what we're seeing is that the exports of helium from the USA are now in steady decline. And what we're seeing instead is imports coming into the USA. And so in the next few years, that will only be further exaggerated. And helium really doesn't like to be transported either long distances. So another reason to have a domestic source. So really, it's all about technology for helium. So semiconductors, space launch, data centers. And so really for the USA to have, I guess, security of supply, it's important that we're successful.
Interesting. So thank you so much for your time, and that is a really great overview for Pulsar Helium. So thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.